Hey guys, welcome to Early Access Podcast, episode 100! Fireworks. Yeah, episode 100. It's been quite a year. Can't believe I made it to 100 episodes all by myself. But, yeah. So I'm recording pretty late tonight because the Oscars are on tonight, and I was just watching that wrap up, even though it's run late as usual. Supposed to be over at 11:30, and it's now midnight. But what are you gonna do? So I haven't really played much as far as early access games are concerned, just because it hasn't been really. I mean, there's stuff that I've been talking about, and there's just hasn't been anything that really piqued my interest since like in a while. But I'm waiting on a couple email responses back for a couple games. So we'll see. I should be getting some stuff up soon, within the next couple days. There's another game I gotta do a first look of, so that's coming up. So I've been watching a lot of Overwatch though, because I didn't get into the beta for that because the way Blizzard hands out their keys for early access to their beta stuff is weird. You can sign up all you want, but you know they're gonna get it to the guys with the biggest reach first. So that's why there's like a bunch of people that are streaming it. A bunch of people did get access to it. I was expecting to because I got into the Hearthstone alpha pretty early, but unfortunately I haven't gotten into this yet. It looks amazing. If you guys haven't been watching it, go check Twitch or YouTube. There's plenty of people streaming it. It's gonna be an interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how competitive this game actually turns out. Just because I feel like people are already grooming it to be like an esports game, and when that happens from like the gate like that, like tends to put games into like a weird spotlight. So it kind of forces Blizzard's hand into like making sure that everything's balanced, and it's a commitment that I don't know if that's what they want. I mean, if you look at what Hearthstone went throughout the first year, it was like a lot of people were trying to make it way more competitive than it warrants, and you can tell by the speed at which they would fix cards, the fact that there's no real format for the like competitive scene. Everybody's adopted something, but there's really no real format. Which actually brings up Hearthstone real quick. They actually recently said that they're going to start doing basically a new format, kind of like standard in Magic. So they're going to be rotating cards out now on a set basis. So every time a new set comes out, an old set's going to roll out, which is something that Magic's been doing for a long time. I find it odd that it took them as long as it did to realize that they're going to need to do that. But so that should be coming up soon. I'm not sure exactly when that's happening, but it should be within the next. When the next set comes out, I believe. Let's see. Maybe it's on their main page here. Maybe under forums. There, let's check Fireside Gatherings, maybe. Watch the 2016 for dusting off of cheese. View all news. Yeah, here we go. This was a couple weeks ago. Actually, the beginning of the month. Wild, more deck slots, blah blah blah. Yeah, it looks like this spring. It looks like so. Probably April. I would imagine when the next set releases. So that's something to look forward to if you're in the Hearthstone. It will be exciting to watch. Going forward. And so is Overwatch. So if you're into those kind of games, Overwatch is an interesting first-person shooter, especially coming out of Blizzard. It's a fast-paced game. I don't know. It just looks interesting. I hope to get my hands on it soon. Um, Real quick, congratulations to the guys at was this Close Studios, Beach Interactive, Chad Close, Kyle Weik. They made this game called On My Own, which is a top-down, 2D survival game. Little pixel art game. I played it a little while ago. I wasn't a big fan. I just thought it was kind of boring. But that's just my opinion. So take that with a grain of salt. There was a lot of survival games that were coming out at the time. It didn't have a lot of direction as far as how to craft things, which is really frustrating. But it finally left early access. It's $8. It's got 59 reviews, 74% positive. I'm not sure if one of mine is one of the negative ones. It may be. I don't know if I actually put a negative review on here. I think I just talked about it. Yeah, it's kind of, it's just like a kind of weird take on the survival adventure game. It looks good though. I love the art style. So hopefully, since it was in early access, they probably ironed out a lot of those things. And it looks, just from watching the video, the new trailer, it does seem like there's a lot more to it now. So go check that out. Always like mentioning when games leave early access, because it's a feat upon its unto itself. So this game, somebody mentioned it, and it's not in early access yet, but it's coming up. You can sign up for the closed alpha if you go to the website now. It's called The Culling. So if you go to theculling.com, you can go on there and sign up for their closed alpha. However, I don't know how many more people they're going to be bringing into that, just because it hits early access in about 8 days now. Also, happy leap year day. I just realized it's February 29th. So happy leap year day. So The Culling is basically the Hunger Games, the game. They're taking the whole H1Z1 King of the Hill mode and making their own little mode. It looks really cool, though. It seems more survival focused for an arena-based kind of game like this. So you're going to be scavenging, you're going to be building stuff, you're going to be building traps, and it's basically survival of the fittest. So whoever lasts wins. It looks really cool, the trailer that I've seen. I haven't watched any actual gameplay yet, but the stuff that they show in the trailer is really awesome, and I just think it's an interesting concept. Hopefully, though, like most of these games, needs a player base. There's other games that are similar, and I think the only reason that King of the Hill even has players is because H1Z1 was incredibly popular, and it was backed by SOE when it came out, so it just had an inherent fan base just because of Sony Online, and so that game kind of took off in a way that's a little bit different. This being a smaller studio, it's going to be tough. Hopefully the price point's right and they can get enough people in there right from the gate, because it looks really interesting, and what's going to make or break this game is whether or not you can actually play with people, like most of these early access online games. Excuse me. So go check that out. I'm really interested in that. Hopefully, like I said, they get the player base for it. So this next game is kind of interesting because I've never seen anything quite like it. Now, it's called Era of Majesty, and it's a pixel art style. It says it's a real-time strategy game with some RPG elements. But what's cool about it, it's a side-scrolling, not side-scrolling, but it's like a 2D or like real-time strategy game. So you're going to be crafting and building your bases and stuff in a 2D plane, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. It's let's see, it's $5.39, so it's relatively cheap. It's already got 31 reviews, 96% positive. I just think it's an interesting take on a real-time strategy game, kind of like a Terraria style, that kind of 2D game. It just looks really cool. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anybody try to do a real-time strategy in like a 2D form like this. It does look a little tower defense-y though, like side-scrolling tower defense, but I don't think that's what it is exactly, but it's kind of what it feels like. So go check that out. It's a cute looking little game. This game, I honestly don't know what it really is. So it's called Factorio. Now, this came out a few days ago. It's $20. It's already got 1,677 reviews, 99% positive. So this game is selling incredibly well. It's made by Woob Software, and this is their first game. And it's like a sim, like base building game where you're building like conveyor belts and train tracks and roads, and you're mining for stuff, and you're building these machines to basically mine this ore and process it. It's really hard to understand what's going on. Like, I don't understand the gameplay, but people seem to be really enjoying it. And basically it says that you're combining the things into just structures. Like, it says ingenious structures. Like, that's the whole point of it. And you're trying to protect it from creatures. It's really all it says. So it's like a base building defense game with like this crazy base building thing. It's really hard to explain. You got to go check out the videos. People seem to be just amazed by it. I mean, it's doing really well. It's just incredibly interesting looking. I'm not exactly sure what to expect out of it, but I will be trying to get in touch with them and get a copy of that because it looks really cool. All right, this next game is it's a 4X strategy game. So if you've ever played one of those, they're all pretty much similar rule sets about how those work. This is called Master of Orion, Conquer the Stars. So from what I understand, there's multiples of these. Like, this is like a redone version of it. So better graphics, blah blah blah. It looks cool. It's like a space turn-based strategy game, Space Sim 4X. So if you've played these kinds of strategy games before, you're gonna be pretty comfortable with how it plays. It looks gorgeous though. It's already got 483 reviews, 78% positive, but it's $50. But it does include the 3 original games and this one. It's the Master of Orion Collector's Edition. So I guess you're getting your money's worth there out of the $50. Let's see. This is made by Wargaming Labs, it says, which I thought was, and wargaming.net, which is, if I'm not mistaken, wargaming.net is the company that does World of Tanks and World of Warplanes and World of Warships. So, I mean, it's got some pedigree back there. I'm pretty sure the guy that just designed that just made $1 billion. Like, I think recently he became a billionaire because of that series of games, which doesn't happen very often in the gaming community. So here's another game in that stable of wargaming.net games. So go check that out. So last game I grabbed is I want to say I played the like alpha of this, or is this like, it might have just been like a demo, but it's called Portal Knights. Like, I feel like I had hands-on time with this somewhere. Actually, I can check my YouTube channel. I want to say I did. Let me search Portal Knights. That's not my videos. Video manager. Portal Knights. Nope, I guess not. It looks similar to another game I played before. That's what it is. But so it's an RPG sandbox voxel-based game, third person. It's made by 505 Games. So if you don't know who those guys are, 505 published Payday 2. You got Brothers, How to Survive 2. a whole bunch of stuff. They're a big publisher, and it's developed by Keen Games, which did Sacred, like the whole Sacred series. Like, so that's from those guys. I mean, it looks like a very straightforward action RPG sandbox game. You're going to be mining, you're going to be running around in a 3D world. But the art style is really nice. The creatures are cool looking. If you like these kinds of games, I'm sure it'll be a great version of one of those. It's $12, 20% off until March 3rd, so you got a few more days to pick it up for a couple dollars off. And it's very positive. 770 reviews, 83% positive, 82% positive. So people are enjoying it. I'm sure it's a similar game to most sandbox RPGs with the crafting and the fighting and everything like that. This reminds me more of a Trove style game, but I don't know exactly how they're handling the building and all that stuff. That creature looks like Deathwing. I feel like Blizzard's gonna sue somebody over that. God, it even looks like the fight against Deathwing in World of Warcraft. It's kind of weird. God, it's creepy. It's like almost identical. But yeah, so that's the last game I got for you guys. Try to think if any other news came out. I didn't mention that the Vive, the other big competitor in the VR world, announced its price as well. So we got let me go to the HTC Vive website. So you'll be able to try to pre-order it later on today. Let me see if I can find somebody posted, because they have the price somewhere. I know they just announced the price for it. No, I can't find it. Is this it? International pricing. So the Vive came in at $799. But it comes with like a whole setup, which is completely different and a little bit different than the Oculus VR. But so the Oculus is coming in at I think it's $599. Let me see if I can find it actually. Gear VR. No. Rift. Here we go. Pre-order now. Yeah, so the Oculus Rift is coming in at $599 with an Xbox One controller. The Vive, on the other hand, is coming in at $800, but it also comes with its two sensor controllers. There is something similar for the Oculus Rift that's not out yet. They're saying sometime later this year. So expect the prices to be a little almost compatible. It still prices out 99.9999% of people for this first wave of VR. So don't expect a lot of people to be running around out there and buying these. All the pre-orders have sold out pretty quickly because I'm sure they're very limited in how many they're producing at first. It's not really a mass market thing. I think there's going to be a lot of bugs to work out, and the price is going to drop drastically over the next year or so as more software comes out for these things as well. You got to remember that right out of the gate there's not going to be a lot to really do with these. Games will exist, but not until they find where they sit in the marketplace. You're not going to get too many huge games that come out for the VR stuff. Announced the other day though, March 15th is the expected date that we'll find out what the PlayStation VR is going to go for. People are saying somewhere between $400 and $600. That's what I think. I think it's going to be somewhere around the cost of the PlayStation. There was rumors that that's about what it's going to cost, is about the cost of a console. So expect it to be about $400 or $500. But you got to remember, it's running on a PlayStation 4. So the PlayStation VR isn't going to be as good as either one of these two devices. So the price is going to reflect that. So expect that to be about $400 or $500, and then both of these, when all said and done, once you buy all the controllers, are both going to be about $800 as well. So yeah, I just want to put that news out there. You know, I'm not looking. I'm looking forward to VR, but I'm not gonna purchase any of this stuff. Not anytime soon. A little bit too expensive in my opinion, and you know they'll figure it out. They'll learn that it is too expensive for everybody. But that's gonna do it for episode 100, guys. I want to thank you for listening, checking out the show. Don't forget, you can always follow me on Twitter at earlyaccesspc. You can email me at earlyaccesspodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, and that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Until next time, this is Angelo with Early Access Podcast, and don't forget, be awesome. See you next time.